Geez, man, this polarity homework sucks. Do you have any idea how to do it?
No clue. What the heck is polarity anyway?
Oh,
Wait.
help us.
What was that?
I stuck in an elevator.
I think it's coming from the ducks.
We're in an elevator and we're stuck.
Oh, what?
Help.
Alright, before we help, you have a question.
Okay.
What is polarity?
Yeah. What's polarity?
Seriously? If we tell you to do this on here,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's do it. I'm Zach. We're in an elevator. We've been stuck here for 12 hours. It's been pretty depressing. Well, anyway, I have some polarity notes for you guys. I'm going to explain it with my handy dandy whiteboard.
Here we go again.
Going down. We didn't press any buttons. I'm not even kidding. So anyway, there's 3 kinds of bonds, not including metallic. We've got your ionic, your polar covalent, and covalent. Alright, so anyway, the covalent, when they're completely covalent, that only happens when the electrons are shared equally. And the only time they're shared equally is when the 2 atoms have the same electronegativity. And the only time that ever happens is when they're the same element. So the same element bonded together is always just plain old covalent. Alright then. And if it's a covalent bond, but they're not the same element, that means there's an unequal sharing. No matter how little the difference in electronegativity is, there's always one that's pulling a little bit harder. So see, this is shared unequally. Then your ionic, this is where one's just completely taking the element. So, or electron. Electrons are transferred. And so, to give you an example of polar covalent, it looks kind of like this. We'll take HCl. So, hydrogen has an electronegativity of 2.1. Chlorine has one of 3.0. So when they're bonded together, you get something that looks kind of like this.
Going up.
Going back up. And so, here, because this one has a higher electronegativity, it's pulling the electrons more towards this side of the bond. And where there's more of the electrons on one side, that side is the delta minus. That means there's more electrons over here. This one is now delta plus, because there's less over here, so that means it has more of a positive charge. And so, this is your polar covalent bond. It's pulling more of the electrons over here from this one, because this one has a higher electronegativity. So, this only happens with different atoms. Or elements. And so, if you're the kind of person that sees them as like the fuzzy cloud of electrons, you'll have something that looks kind of like this. You got your really dense cloud over here. That's chlorine. It's pulling more of the electrons into a cloud over here. And this one is a really thin cloud because there's not as many over. What's wrong? And there's not as many over here. So it looks kind of like that. See how this is really thick with electrons here? That's because it's pulling more towards this atom. And so, to sum it all up, we have 3 kinds of bonds here now, in simple sentences. So if you've got, if you've got 2 identical nonmetal atoms, They are feel free to answer out loud on your own here. Oh, what was that? Did you say non-polar covalent? That's right. We're filming in this elevator.
Gross.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
That's right. Well, then you were absolutely correct. You win a trip for two to Tahiti. Really, guys? It's so mature. Anyway. This elevator's possessed. If you have the bond between two different non-metal atoms,
You're going down.
two different non-metal atoms, you have, again, feel free to answer out loud on your own. Yes, it is polar covalent. Because one is pulling harder on the electrons than the other is. Just stop it. Stop. We're shooting a movie in here. It goes up on its own anyway. Like, if you don't touch anything, it'll just close and go back up. It's really scary.
We've been doing that.
No, it hasn't been just you. Whatever. Anyway.
I think this is what set them up.
It's really obnoxious. Anyway, last but not least, you have between nonmetals and reactive metals. Most of the time they are, again, feel free to answer on your own. Yeah, they're ionic. So yeah, that's polarity. Pretty much wraps up our show for today. Time to go back up and back to class. Bye.
Awesome.
No, we're on the bottom floor. We gotta go back up.
Yeah.
Who's obviously running that group. So how do you like us now? Gave you some education. I think we just proved that the elevator is not haunted. And that Ethan's group is just a bunch of jerks.
Living it up when I'm going down.